The golden age of organized crime may seem like a thing of the past in this era of surveillance, but make no mistake, gangs are alive and thriving. They've simply evolved with the times. And we're not just talking about low-level street gangs either. Complicated, cunning, and cryptic multinational gangs control the underworld in our modern age. Welcome to Who's Number 1. In this video, we are going to be counting down the 10 most dangerous criminal organizations in the world, so let's get started. Number 10, Sinaloa Cartel. The Sinaloa Cartel is the largest and most powerful drug trafficking organization in the world, making it perhaps even more influential and capable than Pablo Escobar's infamous Medellin cartel. Despite notorious leader El Chapo's arrest in 2017, the Sinaloa Cartel remains Mexico's most dominant drug cartel, and is now headed by old-school leader Ismael Zambada and Guzman's other sons, Jesus and Ivan, after the arrest of El Chapo's son Ovidio. The cartel is largely responsible for the manufacturing and importing of fentanyl for distribution in the United States, and it is estimated to have an income of multiple tens of billions of dollars. Number 9, Sun Yee-on. Despite their power, the Chinese triads are not nearly as known by the public as the Italian mafia or the Mexican cartels, for instance. The triads are a loose conglomeration of criminals bonded together mostly by familial relations, which traditionally embrace honor and serve as alternatives to corrupt systems. But Sun Yee-on stands apart from the norm. Established in the early 1900s, its members prioritize self-preservation and wealth, and the gang joins forces with rival gangs when lucrative opportunities arise. Operating discreetly, by the 1960s, approximately 1/6 of Hong Kong's population belonged to these secret societies. By the 1970s, Sun Yee-on had 47,000 members, and by the 1980s and 1990s, it was dominating Hong Kong's film industry. Today, its influence extends to high-ranking government officials in the region. Sun Yee-on's annual revenue is believed to reach hundreds of billions of dollars, as they control more than 10% of the entire global heroin supply. Number 8, Jalisco New Generation Cartel. Since El Chapo's arrest, Mexican cartels have been going through a major power struggle. The Sinaloa cartel is splintering, Los Zetas have largely been decimated, and the Tijuana cartel is a shadow of itself. All of this presented a major opportunity for the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, and they took it. It was formed as a consequence of the Sinaloa cartel's power struggle in Jalisco in 2009, and true to its name, the Jalisco New Generation Cartel represents a fresh breed of Mexican drug cartels, one that has surpassed its predecessors in brutality. After the cartel's formation, the whole of Mexico quickly witnessed a surge in gruesome killings, disappearances, and mass graves, and many Mexican cities have become some of the deadliest in the world. The Jalisco New Generation Cartel is the #1 actor in the global cocaine trade, and has the finances, firepower, and violence to go with it, and they have connections all across the globe too. Number 7, Yamaguchi-gumi. You most definitely have heard of the Yakuza, but you probably haven't heard of the Yamaguchi-gumi. Well, they are the most powerful of the Yakuza groups. Unlike other criminal organizations, the Yakuza have a veneer of acceptability in Japanese society, and most have registered corporations with head offices in highly desirable areas. However, though still a major force, the Yakuza are a shadow of their former selves. In the 1960s, they were estimated to have 200,000 members, while now it's likely to be less than 20,000. Nevertheless, operating from its fortress-like headquarters, the Yamaguchi-gumi reigns as the world's largest and wealthiest gang. In fact, some liken it to Japan's second-largest private equity firm. And the modern Yakuza defies conventional stereotypes, as younger members increasingly avoid tattoos and refrain from the practice of finger amputation to evade gang affiliation. Number 6, D Company. India is not commonly mentioned when talking about criminal organizations, but it is not because it lacks them. D Company is the biggest and most powerful organized crime syndicate in India, founded and controlled by Dawood Ibrahim, who is one of the most powerful kingpins and richest criminals ever. Dawood controls almost 70% of India's $1 billion piracy market and runs Pakistan's transport business. The Indian crime boss is among the most wanted criminals in the world, in part for sharing smuggling routes with Al-Qaeda. During Mumbai's economic struggles of the 1980s, D Company took advantage to smuggle gold and silver, smuggling approximately 25 to 30% of India's total gold and silver imports. This created a monopoly that allowed them to set their own selling prices throughout India, and to make large quantities of money for their 25,000 members. Number 5, 'Ndrangheta. Based in the Calabria region of Italy, the 'Ndrangheta is the country's second-largest mafia group by revenue, and it made a name for itself by building international ties with South American cocaine dealers, enabling it to control much of the transatlantic drug market that feeds Europe. It has also been expanding its operations in the US and has helped prop up the Gambino and Bonanno crime families in New York, which have been run by the most powerful mafia bosses ever. Previously believed to lack a hierarchical structure, the 'Ndrangheta is actually pretty structured. Its clans oversee local territories across Italy, and they are often organized around families. Their ranking system aligns closely with Catholic saints, with initiations referred to as baptisms. With operations spanning 30 countries and boasting 60,000 members, the 'Ndrangheta's annual revenue accounts for 3.5% of Italy's $3.1 trillion GDP, even surpassing the country's largest bank, Unicredit. It makes so much money that if 'Ndrangheta were an independent nation, it would outturn Luxembourg. Number 4. Solntsevskaya Bratva. With the fall of the Soviet Union, the Solntsevskaya Bratva emerged as the dominant Russian mafia force, headed by boss of bosses Semyon Mogilevich, a man described by the FBI as the most dangerous gangster in the world. Despite wielding significant influence over banks and businesses in Russia, it operates covertly, bringing in tens of billions of dollars per year. Its operations are actually so subtle that some doubt its existence. The Bratva is heavily involved in the heroin trade that originates in Afghanistan, as Russia consumes about 12% of the world's heroin despite containing just 0.5% of the world's population. Like China's triads, the Russian Bratvas have intertwined themselves within the political establishment since Stalin's era. They all benefited from Russia's transition into a capitalist free market, and consequently played a pivotal role in shaping the current state of affairs. That blurred the boundaries between criminal activities and the state. Today, the illicit enterprises of drug and human trafficking seamlessly intertwine with legitimate business operations. The Bratva's empire is large and forever growing, and it remains a considerable mystery to the rest of the world. Number 3. Camorra. The Italian mafia as a whole turns over hundreds of billions of dollars a year, and while the Italian-American mafia has been severely weakened in recent decades, the mafia in the old country is still running strong, as local governments in Italy remain linked to and protective of various mafia groups. Based in Naples, the group's history dates back to the 19th century, when it was formed initially as a prison gang, and it is so powerful that Neapolitans treat it almost as if it was the government. Comprising 100 self-governing clans and approximately 10,000 immediate associates, the Camorra boasts an extensive network of dependent clients and allies, and its work goes far beyond just the city of Naples. The Camorra operates in heavily fortified apartment complexes equipped with numerous lookouts, and have intricate underground systems for drug and money exchanges. In that way, police raids are essentially futile, and thus, the Camorra goes on existing like it always has. Number 2. 14K. Based in Hong Kong, the 14K triad is the largest of all East Asian gangs, and it has the backing of government officers. As far back as 1984, Chinese Communist Party leader Deng Xiaoping openly expressed support for collaborating with organized crime, praising their patriotism and integrity while acknowledging their business cunning. In the decades since, the 14K and other triads have provided protection for CCP officials abroad, and in return, the government turns a blind eye to their dubious activities. The 14K triad is so brazen they are even acting like government officials themselves. Back in 2020, the former leader of the 14K, Wan Kwok Koi, met with the president of Bougainville in Papua New Guinea to discuss the establishment of a new economic zone on the island, hoping to contribute to China's ambitious trade network in the South Pacific. Of course, this could only happen in one of the most dangerous countries in the world. Number 1. Washingwa. The Washingwa is the biggest of the big three of Chinese triads, all of which we have seen so far. The Washingwa's annual global income from narcotics alone is an astonishing $200 billion a year, with a further $5 billion coming from people trafficking into Europe and the US. They have experienced steady growth since the 1990s, expanding its influence beyond Hong Kong to many other Asian and even Western cities, recently establishing a notable presence in San Francisco. Founded in 1930, by the 1950s, the total Washingwa membership had expanded from roughly 15,000 to approximately 70,000. Primarily recognized for its involvement in illegal gambling, not all of the Washingwa's endeavors are unlawful, as they own nightclubs, casinos, and bars. In some areas of the Far East, the Washingwa even work in movie production and distribution, as they aim to provide services that the government fails to offer. This combination makes them deadly for those who get in their way, difficult for law enforcement to track, and the most powerful and dangerous criminal organization in the world. Now, we want to know what you think. Did you know any of these organized criminal gangs? Were you expecting other organizations to be featured on the video? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. If you have enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like on it, And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of our weekly top 10 videos. Thank you for watching. This is Who's Number 1. See you next time.